Person 96, your energy manifests onto the rainbow road, and I see a leaf kind of falling. You know, when leaves fall off of a tree, how they kind of spin sometimes. So I get that, but then I'm also seeing this, what do they call those? Stick bugs that look like a branch of a plant. So I'm seeing this like leaf and it's a bug, and this stick and it's a bug, and they both kind of fall into this tree. And I'm watching this tree, and I'm looking really closely, and I'm seeing that everything that looks like a leaf and that looks like a stick or a branch is actually like these bugs. And so I'm getting this like camouflage with nature, that there's this camouflage and kind of like a melding with nature vibe going on, because as soon as I get this, then the tree itself that I'm staring at, and it's this beautiful, dark green tree. I'm seeing the light kind of pierce through it. As soon as I get that these are all these like camouflaging bugs that are making up this tree, like a wind blows and all of these bugs disperse and the tree's like no longer there. So it's almost like this waft of flying, fluttering kind of sticks and leaves kind of disappear and leave nothing left where the tree was standing. So it's almost this, it was really artsy, it was really interesting, but I'm getting a very strong pull towards some kind of like camouflaging in with nature. And so from here, then we see you emerge still in this kind of naturescape, and now I see you as a human, and you have in your hand this leaf, and it's one of those three kind of pronged leaves, and you're spinning in circles holding this leaf up to the sun, and it's almost like, and it looks almost like a very like artsy movie kind of. I feel like I'm on the ground level looking up, so I'm getting like a really large shot, kind of distorted shot of you from the feet up to the head, and your arms are outstretched and the sun rays are kind of pouring down on you, and you're doing this kind of like spin, and you're looking at this leaf, and you're it's almost like you're studying the intricate details of the leaf. Like I see you look through the leaf, and using the sun as this kind of like backlight, you're seeing the veins, and it's almost like I get the sense that you're seeing the bones and the veins of this leaf, and I feel like you're seeing in and through and like into the anatomy, and I feel like you're completely like there's this knowing, there's this exchange of deep wisdom kind of that happens. Like I feel like the intricate details, like even like the I don't know what is that called, all the technical words that go with the leaf. I just feel like you would know every intricate detail that has to do with this leaf, and it's almost like just by being with it and holding it, that this kind of transmission is going back and forth between you and this leaf. And so the leaf kind of flutters away, and you begin walking, and you crouch down towards the ground, and I see in between your hands you kind of cup this sprouting green vine, it looks like, and then as soon as you cup your hands around it, it turns into like the beanstalk from Jack and the Beanstalk. And so it's very large, like the circumference around is the size of a house, and you start crawling up it, and you're making your way, twisting and turning all the way up this beanstalk. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going to be at the top? This is going to be telling, what's going to be at the top of this beanstalk. And as I'm asking this, I'm starting to get that there's nothing going to be at the top of this beanstalk, that I see you almost like making different homes within the different plateaus that you reach. And I almost see like the leaves curving over some of the extended kind of vines, and it creates like almost homes, and it's like you get to these different plateau points higher and higher up the beanstalk, and it's like you're living in and within it. And I'm now going, okay, well, why did Jack climb the beanstalk? It was to get to the golden goose, right, or the treasure up at the top in the castle, in the giant's castle. And so I'm getting that, okay, so seeking seeking treasure is the means of the beanstalk, but you are living within the beanstalk, so the beanstalk is the treasure. So again, it's this interesting connection between you and nature. And so I asked what the title was earlier of your reading, and they said harmony. And so, this, I'm getting that there's going to be some kind of harmony between you and nature. So finally, I'm watching you, and as you're scaling this beanstalk even more and you get to the very top of it, you're standing, your hands like holding the very tip top of this beanstalk, and there's like a leaf outstretched, a huge leaf outstretched holding you up at the very top, and it's like you take this deep breath and you turn into ashes, and it's like the ashes to ashes, dust to dust comes into my head, and I see just a pile of ashes now on this top beanstalk leaf, and it's like that was the achievement, that was the success, that was the goal. I see a beanstalk kind of like the mountain and the perspective, and to gain the highest perspective, and it was like it was just a complete consistent connection with nature, and an elevation through kind of this living in and through and vibing with nature. And as you got to the peak and the top of that, it was like you were ready to let go and transition on. And so there's a very deep, strong connection between you and nature. So from here, now I see you down. It's almost as if you're in this kind of river, and you're on what could be, you're standing up on like a boat, but it's not a boat, it's more of like a wooden planks tied together, almost like a Tom Sawyer style, like you have a big stick that you're kind of wading through the waters with, and it's this black tunnel, almost like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory when they start to go into that black tunnel and the weird music starts playing. So I feel like that's what's kind of the intensity and the situation's changing to, and you're standing on the back of this kind of planked logs, pushing yourself through, and there's these twists and these turns, and you're very kind of timid about what's coming up. There's almost a line of fearfulness moving forward. And so it's interesting because we've been in nature, and so nature is root chakra and grounding, and then when we go into water, it's sacral chakra, which is the second chakra. And so it's interesting that we transition from root chakra to sacral chakra here, and there's almost this fear or unknowing or unfamiliarity with it, and it's almost a scariness to it. And so you're navigating through, and then all of a sudden it starts kind of moving faster, and then I see you go through what's the portal for me, which takes us to the next phase of the reading. And this portal is a wooden door frame, and as you move through it, it's almost like there's a popping sound. I literally hear this like somebody putting their finger in their cheek and making that popping sound, and it's almost like all the darkness is gone, and you're like sucked through what feels like an interdimensional something, and you're popped out the other side. And so what almost always happens now in these readings is, as we move through the portal, you go into some form of alignment with one of the chakras, and I can then read kind of where you are with the chakras and perspective and energy and all of this. And so typically people will end up going into the third eye chakra, up into crown chakra, or down into the root chakra or the sacral chakra. And what happens is you get pulled right through. I feel like there's almost a hole in my story, a hole in my reading, and it's like this pop happens and you get pulled through, like they don't want you or don't want me to engage in a chakra reading of your energy and within the chakras, and they pull you through the other side, and you're actually turned backwards looking at where I would see the visuals of where you would fall in the chakras. And so it was really interesting. So I'm getting, I keep hearing this popping sound and keep seeing you kind of like pulled through, and I'm questioning. I'm going, okay, well, I don't understand what's going on. Why are we not going into the chakras? And so then they pull me back to the boat, and they show you moving through this boat, which could be considered this journey. And I'm seeing this journey moving from that root chakra, all the nature connection, the grounding connection, moving sacral chakra. You're starting to travel up into the chakra energy, into the water, the sacral chakra, and then you get pulled right through, and it's like, nope, we're not going to engage in the chakra stuff. And so I'm kind of seeing that how consistent and connected you were in to the earth and the root chakra and the grounding element. And as soon as we start to travel up and go through the higher chakras, it's like, nope. And I almost feel like you're being protected, or you're being popped through and into like the most divine space. As somebody who's studied chakra theory my whole life, most of the time I go, okay, well, we need to elevate through our chakras from root all the way up to crown, and that's how we become spiritually enlightened beings. And it's interesting because when I do readings for other people like this, I get taught a lot. And so I would have initially thought, okay, if we're stuck in the root chakra, then we're not elevating or transcending higher in our own transformational process. But I get the complete opposite for what they're showing me with you. It's almost like you're being protected and you're being encouraged to stay engaged in the very present moment of life and nature, in the harmony and balance that connects you to earth. And this is where your most divine path is, and this is where your transcendence into the highest kind of spiritual levels is achieved from. And that's, I think, why they show me you going up the beanstalk, up to the highest perspective and turning into ash, which is, I think, moving to the next kind of lifetime. And it's like, this is what you need to do, is stay completely harmonized and balanced in with the earth. And this is where your highest spiritual wisdom comes from. And so it's really interesting. I get that there's this like complete connection for nature with you. And this is where all of that highest, most divine wisdom comes from. And so then you turn around, and as soon as you turn around and you're not looking at that kind of blank space anymore, you turn around, and in front of us is your Akashic records. And I see this old, beautiful kind of country style house, red wood siding and a big porch, and you walk up to it, and as soon as you walk in through the door of the Akashic records, it's filled with like flora and fauna of like just hundreds of different kinds. I hear the birds chirping in the background. I see the light piercing through and like cascading down through the leaves and creating these, when the air is kind of thick and the light, you can almost see a density to the light that's being casted through the leaves, like in the branches. I get that I can see those rays of light coming in, and it has that warm, sweet feeling, the birds and the flowers and the plants and everything. And so the Akashic records show us your wisdom, and typically this first scene shows me maybe what's blocking or what's not holding somebody back, but what the first impression of the records is. And so again, now here I'm getting a confirmation that because this feels amazing, this feels good, this feels divine, this feels like the highest path. So all of this kind of flora and fauna within your Akashic records, I'm getting this is where the wisdom comes from, because typically, after I make an acknowledgement, everything turns back into the books, which would be kind of that spiritual wisdom, attaining that wisdom. And for you, it always stayed in these trees and these plants. And so again, I'm getting that the connection for you for wisdom is going to be through earth and nature. And again, back to the title of this, the harmony between you and the earth and nature. And so I call down your higher self, and I ask what's for the greatest good for this person to know at this moment in time. And they're basically confirming all of these points and saying, and they're kind of showing me that the North and the South Pole, and they're almost showing me that like you're one of these stabilizing poles here. And this happens, to go off on a complete tangent, with the transitioning of the earth and the frequency of the earth changes, and the evolution of kind of humans. They say that we're going to reach a breaking point of our evolution and our hiring of our frequency, and at that point, the basically, if we haven't basically ruined the earth, that there's going to be kind of like extraterrestrial type beings that come in and help us rebuild the earth, because we would have destroyed so much of the earth. And they say that what we need is a core amount of people who are very connected into the root chakra and very connected into the earth and the earth changes and everything going on with nature, and healing the earth, to be so connected into their own physicality on the earth that they can hold down this this frequency and this energy of the earth, because the earth is a stabilizing planet within our entire solar system, and a lot of beings kind of rely on the earth and what's happening. And so I'm shown that there's like a north and a south pole, and I'm almost getting like you're this north pole, you're like one of these poles that are anchoring the earth and the changes and everything that's happening, and not going to allow kind of the possibility of the earth's destruction type of a thing, that you're one of these like really stabilizing factors. And they're showing me that a handful of people like have this ability and this unique talent, and so they're bringing back the harmony and the balance, and to continue to find your harmony and your balance with nature. And whether this connects with you or not, whether you are somebody who knows how strongly you are connected to nature, if that connects, of course, this is all going to make sense. But if you're not somebody who had previously acknowledged that part of yourself, I would say that, you know, on your spiritual quest, or if you have, you know, if you're looking to go on some kind of, you know, internal journey, that your beginning and end point is going to be with nature, and that all the divine connection that you're seeking, and all the guidance and all the harmony in life that you're seeking, it's all going to be achieved through nature. And how that's achieved, I think, is going to be what harmonizes and feels most congruent with your own being. But I get that there's this kind of symbiotic connection. I feel like it's what is that? I get like that version of the cell. Gosh, I'm not going to be able to explain this, but it's almost like down to the microbiology of things, where like you basically are a component, like a living component of the earth, and you're one of those strong beings that are here to help keep us all connected to the earth. And so you have a very strong power within you, and it was really beautiful to read and watch. So thank you, with light and love.